Today we're working on Chapter 1, Lesson 1. This is 7th grade math, and today we are going to be dealing with rates. Our vocabulary is going to include rate and unit rate. So, first things first, let's go ahead and look at our notes. A rate is a ratio that compares two different quantities with different kinds of units. So, an example of this would be something like how much you get paid per hour. We've talked about this in class. So say I get paid $5 per every hour that I work. Depending on the hours and everything like that will depend on how much I get paid. This is known as a rate. A unit rate is when one of the numbers is 1. So this case, this would be a unit rate. Let me give you an example of a non-unit rate. Let's say I get paid $35 for every 5 hours of work. Okay, somebody charges you $35 for every 5 hours of work. This is a kind of a out-of-the-box example, but this is not a unit rate. In order to make this a unit rate, we're going to divide both by 5 in order to make this out of 1. When I do that, that will give me 7, because 35 divided by 5 is 7. 5 divided by 5 will be 1. So this is a unit rate now, where one of the numbers is 1, and it's basically saying every 1 hour they're being charged $7. So again, a rate is a ratio that compares two different quantities with different kinds of units. Example would be number of beats per minute, number of miles per hour, number of dollars per pound or pack. Another one that we used was how much we get paid per hour. A unit rate is when a rate has a denominator of 1, it's simplified to the lowest it can be. So an example that they use here is there are 160 beats per 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes there's 160 beats. If we divide both by 2, just like we did here in this example where I divided by 5, it'll be 80 beats per minute. This is known as a unit rate. Why did I divide each problem by their denominator? The answer is to get a unit rate denominator of 1. Now, if you can't do that and it can't be turned into a unit rate, that's fine, but this is an example of a unit rate. So here would be another example, $7.40 for every 5 pounds. Say it's, 5 pounds of trail mix, whatever it is. If we want to know how much 1 pound costs, we're going to divide both by 5 to find out what 1 pound would cost. And 1 pound would give us roughly $1.48 per pound. So let's look at our examples for this, if it will let me. There we go. So our exercise from here is beats every 2 minutes. The record, you can take person's pulse. Oh, they want us to actually take our pulse. Okay, well, we're going to use what we had here because we're not doing that. Example, again, would be 160 beats in 2 minutes. If we took our partner's pulse and we got 160 beats in 2 minutes, then we'd divide it by 2 to find out how much was each 1 minute, and that would be 80. Now let's find one that's already given us this. See, they gave us that example here. Let's find another example. Adrian biked 24 miles in 4 hours. So we would write out 24 over 4. She wrote 24, and then you can even put the things, miles, 4 hours. Okay? How if she biked at a constant speed? So again, there's ins and outs. There's things that we may not know, but in a perfect world, let's say that she biked the same speed for the entire time. How much did she ride in 1 hour? In order to solve this, we want this hour 1 to become 1. In order to do that, we're going to divide both of these by 4. Remember, if I do one thing to one side of the fraction ratio, I have to do it to the other. So we know that 4 divided by 4 is 1. 24 divided by 4 will be 6. So we can say that she rode 6 miles per hour. In 1 hour, she traveled 6 miles. And we're going to go ahead and do these. We're going to find the unit rate for each one. So $300 for 6 hours. And we'll just say it's $300 for 6 hours of work. So somebody got paid $300 for working 6 hours. Again, to find the unit rate, I'm going to divide both of these by 6. We know that that will be, not 6, sorry, that will be 1 in 1 hour. And we need to do 300 divided by 6. So I know 6 will not go into 3, but 6 will go into 35 times, which will be 30. And remember, when we get this 0 issue, the 0 just kind of comes up. So basically what they're telling me is that they are getting paid $50 per hour. You can always double check your work. And we can do 300 divided by 6, which should be 50, and it is. So this person's getting paid $50 per hour. And B, 220 miles on 8 gallons. So this person drove 220 miles on 8 gallons of gas. How many miles did they get per gallon? We're going to divide both by 8. This will leave us with a unit rate of 1 gallon. And 220 miles divided by 8. Again, we can do this. 8 won't go into 2. 8 will go into 22 twice, because 8 times 3 is 24, so it'll be twice. That'll be 16. When I subtract, 2 minus 6 can't do. This will become 12. This will become 1. This will be 6, 0. Bring down this. Now, again, this has been a running theme. My 8s are the worst. So I'm going to go based on my previous knowledge. And I know 8 times 7 is 56. And if I add another 8 to that, that would be 64. So it is going to be 7. 56. And I'll have 4 left over. And we know that when this happens, we would need to put a decimal, bring down a 0. 8 will go into 45 times. And that will be the end of that. So for this one, we're getting 27.5 miles per gallon. And again, because these are kind of word problems, we're going to need to write them out as word answers. So if we're looking over here at our homework, all of these answers are in sentences. So we do need to do sentence examples for our answers. And that's pretty much it with this lesson. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, as always, you guys can reach out on Teams, email, or leave comments if you're not in my class. I am Mr. P, and I will catch you guys on the next one.